Today is a new opportunity to accomplish your incredible. So let's wake up each day with a fresh mindset necessary for you to win. I welcome you to Rise and Shine. Morning motivation for the girl boss with author, speaker, and founder of the Prestige Society, Nicole Doss. Let's jumpstart your morning now. Good morning, good morning. Rise and shine, my fabulous, wonderful girl bosses. I am so happy that we have another opportunity to live our life on purpose. I'm so thankful and blessed that we get the opportunity to operate our businesses in purpose. I'm so thankful that we are able to just help others through our brand. And I pray that this is another day where we feel as if we're adding value, that we are adding creativity and innovation and passion and advocacy, and adding it to all that we do through our companies and through our brands. Rise and shine. I'm going to just move my laptop over some. You can hear it's making some sound. So just give me 2 seconds to get comfy as I try to wake up as well as stretch and rise and shine with you diva bosses. Today's word is going to be courage. When I first thought about what the word would be, I thought the word was going to be fear. But I wanted to make sure that whenever we focus on a word, we focus on a word that creates anabolic, positive energy and not something that resonates or stir up catabolic and toxic energy. So therefore, our word today is courage. The reason why I want us to focus on being courageous today is because I find that as we walk into our purpose even more every single day, we are being introduced to new ideas and opportunities that may stir fear in us. We may be given a God idea that will allow us to ooze creativity from our very being. But if we haven't moved in this area before, if we haven't moved in this arena, if it feels unfamiliar, if it seems like it may be unchartered waters to us, then we will have areas where we will doubt ourselves in the process of moving from creation to implementing and launching this wonderful idea into the world and trying to allow others to experience that idea with us. I'm here to tell you today that if that idea was placed into your spirit, if it's something you can't stop thinking about, if it's something that stirs excitement and fear in you at the same time, then it is absolutely something that you must see through to fruition. So courage is going to be our word of the day. There's some things that I know people, when we think about courage, they don't think about me and courage, but let me just tell you something. I need this podcast episode just like many of you need it. And I'll share my story. So since the age of 3, my mom has had me on the stage. I danced. I danced solo. I would perform in talent shows. By the age of 6, I started dancing nationally in competitions as a soloist. And I would sing, I would model, I auditioned for TV shows. I auditioned for commercials. There's a lot that I did. I always say my mom was like the original Tina Knowles because my mom was like my momager. I was raised on the stage. So being out front doesn't scare me. Being out front doesn't make me nervous. I still get butterflies in my stomach every time I speak. And I still get butterflies in my stomach every time I even have to sing a solo in church. It's just part of wanting to be great at what you do. So there's going to be a sense of nervousness that comes along with it. And I think that's what keeps us humble and true to our gifts. But sometimes I'm very fearful. And I know that that's not what God has in store for me, and that's not what He wants for me. So I work through the fear. So writing for me is a, something that brings a lot of fear. And it's because, in college, when you at Rutgers, if you are efficient in writing, or sufficient in writing, and you're able to at least do what's expected of you as a writer, then you are automatically put in expository writing. But although I had been in honors English and college prep English at the school that I grew up in, Willingboro, we all know, unfortunately, at the time when I graduated, it was a subpar education. So you being in those classes just mean you just barely getting the bare minimum of that particular area of study. So when I go to Rutgers and I test, for my entrance exam, I'm placed in basic composition, which is, of course, is what considered an 098 or 099 class, which means it's a remedial class. And one of the things that I remember a good friend of mine said, because I didn't even pass it the first time around, I had to take it a second time. And a good friend of mine, I never forget, Ami Desai, said to me, "But you speak so eloquently, I don't understand why you're in basic comp." And when she read my work, she said, "Oh my gosh, it's like you're just almost there. It's like you're almost there. Your thoughts are just too choppy in your writing, but it's like you're almost there." So that not being adequate, I guess, as a writer has really stuck with me, where now I'm in this space where I want to write a book. So I want to write Rock Your Life, and I write Rock Your Life. And I don't feel adequate as a writer. And unfortunately, I didn't go through the proper channels of editing. And so I feel very insecure about Rock Your Life. The problem about not being courageous in what you do and allowing insecurities to take over is that when you're building a business on purpose and you're creating products and services all based on your purpose, remember your purpose is the tree that bears fruit, and that fruit is not for you. That fruit is to give nourishment and to be a blessing to someone else. And so when you're caught in your insecurities, then you do not have the opportunity to bless others, because now you're in a space where you're caught up in all of you. You are doing something that is egocentric, which is in direct contradiction of what you're supposed to be doing with your brand. So let's go back now to Rock Your Life. So with Rock Your Life, I poured everything into Rock Your Life. I mean, I told stories of my childhood. I got really personal with my life around what gremlins do to someone, the type of manipulation of a narrative that takes place when you are dealing with gremlins in your life, and how they can paralyze you and keep you from being able to really step into your greatness. And so I really poured everything into Rock Your Life. And I so felt insecure, even to this day, about everything about that book. From my writing style, to my cover of the book, to you name it, that I don't push that book. You will see very rarely will you ever see Rock Your Life ads about buying the book. And when you do, it's me just saying, "Nicole, you have a book, push it, just do it." But it's something that I have to force myself to do. It's not something I do on the regular. And so I've decided, after I bring to market Tribe and really fully promote the planners, because even Tribe, I'm dealing with the same thing, and this is a bigger book. So I think Rock Your Life may be like 140 pages. Tribe is like 165 pages. Plus Tribe comes with a freaking workbook along with it. That's a 4-month planner to help you take this idea of creating these monthly membership type of business model with tied to your brand. It takes it from ideation to fruition, right? So I created now not just one body of work, but 2 bodies of work with this particular publication. And when I tell you, there's all sorts of insecurities, and every day I have to push myself and push myself and push myself to also be more due diligent. So now I'm really focusing on, are thoughts connecting, and how is this working, and does it sound like it's my voice before it goes to the editor? I know that I'm dragging my feet, but I'm still pushing. I'm still pushing it. I'm still pushing it. I'm still pushing it. When you are focused on being courageous, you have to move fear out of the way and focus on the blessing you are providing to others so that you are not focused on yourself, because it's not about you. I want you to think about that thing that you are sitting on because you are not feeling courageous in the effort of pushing it forward. For me, one of the things I've decided to do, because honestly, everyone who has read Rock Your Life, I'm sure they've seen the grammatical errors. I'm sure they've seen, the pixelated cover, but they also see the substance of it. And people have either purchased this book for others, or they have said to me, oh my gosh, Nicole, this has really helped me in my life, or they've posted it. So I decided, you know what, instead of being paralyzed by your fear, why not move into a space where you now are proud of this work? And you know what it would take? First of all, since then, I've created multiple covers for a book, so I no longer have any self-doubt. When I first created Rock Your Life, this is when I first started using Canva. Since then, I'm just a Canva pro. So cover is not an issue for me. Number 2, there's editors everywhere that will read over your book. So guess what? The same editor that's reading over Tribe is going to be the same editor that's going to read over Rock Your Life. So once I push out all those different ideas that I have right now for 2019, we're going with a revision for Rock Your Life. And we're going to go hard with Rock Your Life because we're out here to help change the lives of women. And I'm not going to allow my fear or insecurities hold me back. You are not going to allow your fear or insecurities to hold you back. We are here to live our life on purpose. We are here to build brands that are anchored in purpose. We are here to bless and help others. So we're not going to allow fear to stop us from taking action. Fear is definitely a result or a product of the enemy trying to hold you back from walking in your purpose, living in your greatness. We're not having it. So now, instead of me having 3 things that I want you to do, I have 5. I'm so sorry, but I'm sorry. You got 5 things I need you to do today. 1, I want you to write down that one thing you have been afraid to do. Okay? I'm sure there's more than one, but we're going to take baby steps, okay? Because once you get this one thing down, then what we'll do is just, lather, rinse, repeat. Okay? So write down that one thing that you have been afraid to do. But I want you to write down why you're afraid. Like, what's that thing that scares you about this opportunity? So for me, I feel like if people can see that my grammar is not perfect, if people feel like, oh my gosh, my writing is not perfect, then I will be judged. But you know what's so funny about that? First of all, I read other people's books. I have been getting better at that with the help of my husband. But one of the things that I read yesterday, I was like, oh my gosh, I don't know. Like, I was reading a book about anxiety. It's a Christian-based book about how to use scriptures to help you not worry about things that are frivolous. Because in the larger scheme of things, it's all frivolous, right? And there was this random sentence that I couldn't connect to the previous sentence or the sentence after it. And I wasn't sure what to do with the sentence. And I was like, who cares? keep moving because the overall substance of this book was really great and phenomenal. And I said, wow, this is actually a book that has been published by a major publishing company. So if this can happen with major books, then guess what? It's okay if that happens with mine, especially if we've done the due diligence and the care of editing, because at the end of the day, mistakes happen. Read Richard Branson's book. You don't know who Richard Branson is? He's like a multi-billionaire with his own private island, and he is the owner of the Virgin brand. Virgin Records, Virgin Airlines, Virgin Mobile, you name it, that's him. I love everything about that mogul, and guess what? Read his book, he could care less either. He just wants you to get the meat and potatoes of his book. So I'm going to move out of my way with this fear. What I was afraid of was that people would judge me. I can no longer be afraid of what others think. I will take responsibility and accountability of how do I do my due diligence. But after that, I will no longer be afraid or fearful of what people think, because that's not the main point of what we do. Someone's going to judge. Who cares? You're out there for the 85 to 90% of the people who need the information, who need you, who need your products, who need your services. So I want you to think about not only what's that one thing you've been afraid to do, but what is it about this thing that scares you? And scares you about the opportunity. What do you think is going to happen? Now, we're going to talk about irrational fears and like real life threatening fears in a moment, okay? Because if you find in writing down these things are irrational fears, then I want you to move on to step number 3 is what excites you about the opportunity? And if you find that something really excites you, and if you find that what outweighs that irrational fear, like if what excites you outweighs those irrational fears, then I want you to move on to number 5. So here's the deal. Number 4 is doing the analysis. What's the pros and the cons here? What makes you afraid? That's irrational. And what excites you? That's great opportunity. That's anchored in your purpose of what the core of what your mission and vision is for your business. Once you find out that, okay, what excites you outweighs the bad, you're going to move to number 5, which is execution, which is what we've already talked about, right? You're going to move forward with courage, knowing that this opportunity is helping you move the needle towards progression, moving the needle towards your greatness, moving the needle towards you operating in your purpose, all right? So let's run that down again, because this time I didn't give you 3, I gave you 5, and if you didn't have the chance to grab your pen and paper, we know now you have it, so let's go back. Number 1, write down that one thing that you are afraid to do. Number 2, figure out what is it that's driving that fear. So what are some of these things that scare you? Is it insecurity? Is it judgment from others? Is it fear that you think that people won't think that you are the right person to be called to do these things? Whatever it is, figure out what it is that scares you. Write it down. Number 3, write down what excites you. Now, if nothing excites you, then maybe you don't need to do this opportunity, but I guarantee you there is something that excites you. There's a little seed of maybe this can lead to ... that absolutely excites you in the core. Like when you think about like that gut feeling you have, there's a twinge of excitement. Write that down and write down all of the things that excite you about this opportunity. Number 4, conduct an analysis. That's right, CEO. You're a boss, babe. Do something wrapped in some bossness and do something that requires an analysis. And analyze what outweighs that fear. Does that excitement, does that great opportunity outweigh your irrational fear? Number 5, if you find that your excitement and all that great positivity outweighs the fear, then move forward with courage, knowing that this is an opportunity that will move you towards your greatness. Oh my gosh. All right, guys. I hope today's episode has truly I guess, create excitement in you to have that courage that you need in order for you to be able to move forward. I'm going to have some coffee because I feel like I need my words to flow a little bit more. I hope you grab your coffee. I hope you make your list. And you know what? I really want to connect with you guys. I don't do this for me. I do this for you. I do this because I truly want you to experience greatness. So please, take some screenshots at me. I want to see what you are accomplishing through some of these things that we're talking about. Let's have a dialogue online. I really want to engage with you guys. All right. Have a wonderful, awesome, and fabulous day. Bye.